Hello, everybody. I've got another story for you today. This man's name is Christopher. He's a COVID-19 positive patient, and he's got a very interesting story. He's a patient of Dr. Ing's, and when I spoke to him on the phone earlier today, he told me he was sure he was dying from this illness until he got on the supplement regimen that we do at our office. And so I'm going to turn the story over to Christopher right now and let him tell his story for you.
Well, hello. Thanks so much for allowing me to tell this story. It's one I'm hoping everybody gets an opportunity to hear, particularly if they're feeling the way that I've been feeling lately. So 3 weeks ago, out of nowhere, a couple of random things happened to me. I had a vomiting incident in the middle of the night, kind of inexplicable. A day or so after that, a couple of bouts of like random diarrhea at work, out of nowhere, inexplicable. I sort of scratched my head and kind of kept it moving. A couple of days after that, started feeling lousy, stayed home from work, nasal, coughing, little sore throat. Thought, you know what, I want to do the responsible thing, stay home. I did that. That was a Friday, kind of just sort of took it easy on Saturday, Sunday, feeling better, Monday, ready to rock. Went back to work. Tuesday morning, woke up, completely different ball game. Cloudy, not thinking straight, not feeling right, just sort of off, feeling off, and kind of lumbered through the day, made it through the day, came home, kind of collapsed on the couch, and my wife said, you know, we should probably take your temperature. And I wasn't feeling hot or anything like that. And she did, and it was raging. It was like 102 or something like that. I was not well at all. So we called my healthcare provider, and they went through an online sort of questionnaire protocol for me. And I said, really, I mean, I'm not really feeling well at all. And what can you guys do for me? And they said, well, basically nothing at this point. What we need you to do is we need you to go into quarantine for 14 days.
So no therapy. They can't do any therapies for you. They just told you to stay home and rest.
Correct. Isolate. You go into a place is there a place in the house that you can isolate because you're going through our protocol. We see we're clicking on enough of these symptoms to say you're a potential COVID risk. Is there a place you can isolate in your house? Yes. And that's my bedroom here. I've been in here for 14 days. She said, you need to be away from your family, and your family needs to stay in the house for 14 days. So my kids have been in the house for 14 days, but we've been separated. But basically, right, no therapy, no. And their explanation was, you're obviously sick. You obviously have some symptoms, and you're too sick for us to have you come in right now and potentially expose other patients and health practitioners. And you're not. They kept asking, do you have trouble breathing? Do you have trouble breathing? And I didn't really have the cough at that time. So, well, no, I didn't have trouble breathing. I just feel awful. I feel lousy. And this fever is kind of starting to creep up. And so essentially their message to me was, do what you can to self-medicate, stay away from other human beings, and try to stay alive. And then if you have problems, if you start to develop real problems breathing, let us know.
And we wonder why we're having so many deaths from COVID when they can't offer anything of substance to do for you. But anyways, you keep going with your story.
Right. So left to kind of try to figure it out. Basically, I was trying to keep myself together on a diet of Gatorade and Tylenol. My idea, I guess, without any guidance from anybody, was, oh yeah, I got to get this fever down. And so I was obsessing about that. My wife and I trying to take Tylenol, and the jury was kind of out on ibuprofen. I started to feel really weird, like maybe I'm going to blast my liver if I'm taking too much of this stuff. And so then maybe we should start working some ibuprofen in. Again, we had no roadmap. Nobody was telling us anything. Just it's not time for you to come in here right now, or it's not time for. So
It's a perfect example, Christopher, of what's wrong with our medical system. What they should have told you was don't take Tylenol because it depletes glutathione levels in your liver, and you need glutathione when you're sick. Tylenol will make this situation worse. And you told me when we talked a few minutes before I started the recording, you ended up taking ibuprofen. I wrote a blog post about why you shouldn't take ibuprofen because it makes the COVID virus more likely to get inside your body. Again, I'll turn it back over to you.
No, that's okay. That time that I was panicking about taking too much Tylenol, I did exactly what you wrote us and told us not to do. This was obviously before knowing what you were writing about. So I started taking ibuprofen, and I'm pretty convinced at that point in time was when I really started to slide. So what you just said makes complete sense to me. I was doing basically.
And I've heard that from other patients. When they take that first or second dose of ibuprofen, they just go down the tubes very quickly.
Oh yeah, it was like a train wreck after that. Fever off the chart, no taste, no smell, total nausea. I couldn't. I didn't have enough strength to roll over to take a sip of water. That's when I knew when I was at a place like that where I was like, I have to plan my moves to take a drink of water to keep myself alive because I can't move.
I'm sure you felt awful and, or worse.
Oh yeah, it was poison. It was like a wicked poison. And I couldn't think straight, and I was on fire. And so finally my wife said, you know what, this is crazy. So I still throughout this, I had been reaching out to my healthcare professionals. I still had not been tested. Nobody came to my house. Nobody was checking up on me. Nobody was asking me. Nobody was giving me an alternative course. I was sliding super fast. Really.
Tell the listeners what you told me on the phone. What'd you feel like, at this very down point?
Yeah.
Told me you felt like you were going to die.
Oh yeah. No, I was convinced. I knew. I was like, you know what? I'm going to die in this bed. And but what I knew to be true also, Dr. Brownstein, in the back of my mind was a little voice saying, don't let them take you to the ER. Don't go to the ER. I was mistrustful on a profound level now, and I just could see myself in a hallway somewhere, with all due respect to the people who are working there, but they don't know what to do. And I just knew in the back of my mind, I was like, I'll die there. I'd rather die here. I'm being dead serious. It was a crazy thing, but I just knew stay out of the ER.
So let's get to the good point of the story. So let's say how you tell us how you got out of this.
Right. So, little shout out to my wife, who is truly my guardian angel. It made me also think, what are folks doing who don't have somebody like a caregiver that is savvy, that will hustle, that asks questions, that pushes back? There's so many people out there that don't. That's a whole nother story. But in any case, so she called my partners, one of which is a patient at your practice, and told them on a work note, look, Chris is going the wrong direction right now. He's super sick, and I'm really scared he's not going to make it. And you guys got to help me. You got to keep clients and people from trying to call him and all that stuff. And one of my partners, who's a patient at your practice, started asking the questions. Started saying, well, what's he taking? What supplements are he taking? But get ibuprofen away from him. What else is he doing? And my partner said, let me just set up a consultation with Dr. Ng. Just have him talk. Will Chris talk to Dr. Ng? Oh, of course. Dr. Ng called me that morning. I think it was probably 4 days ago now, Dr. Brownstein. Radically changed the trajectory of where this whole thing was going.
What did he tell you?
He stopped me and he started asking, okay, so I know your wife's been bringing all sorts of supplements and things into your room. What do you got there? Show me what you got. Tell me what you got. So I'm fumbling through these bottles. I said, well, I've got vitamin D at X%, whatever. He's like, how many IUs, blah, 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 blah. Great. You know what? You're going to take 4 of those for the next 3 days, and you're going to take them at this time. What else you got? I've got vitamin D. There's this D. Great. That one, you're going to take 4 or 5 of those. You're going to take those at this time. You're going to take those every day. Show me your vitamin C. What do you got? Oh, I've got this kind and this kind. Okay, yeah, that kind. What you're going to do is I want you to take that. I want you to take it. I want to take you to take as much as you can tolerate every hour and until you poop your pants. once you feel like you're going to poop your pants, then back it off a little bit. But what we're going to do is we're going to get your immune system kickstarted in a way that this other crap that you've got going on here, you don't stand a chance.
Vitamin A. He also told you vitamin A.
Vitamin A, vitamin D. I'm sorry, I thought I mentioned. Yeah, vitamin D in the morning, vitamin A at night, vitamin C all throughout the day. And he said we got to get your hands on a nebulizer, which was something else. It was this tool, this nebulizer tool. Was part of this plan that completely allowed me to breathe again and save my life, and is like the hardest thing to try to track down, and every house in America has to have one.
I fully agree with that, with what's going on now. And when this is over, I'm going to be writing about that and lecturing about that. And Dr. Ng and I've talked about this. Everyone needs to have a nebulizer at home. So you got your nebulizer. What did Dr. Ng tell you to do with the nebulizer?
Yeah, nebulizer. So all of a sudden, my wife's in a chemistry class. We're figuring out the saline and the peroxide and the Lugol's, which are the iodine. And so she's putting these things together, and I start these breathing treatments. And I kid you not, after my second breathing treatment, huge difference. And after that, it was like huge momentum. I could just feel the whole thing turn around. So with vitamin D, vitamin A, tons of vitamin C, nebulizing breathing treatments with Lugol's and peroxide.
Lugol's is iodine for the listeners. And so he's nebulizing a combination of peroxide, low dose peroxide and iodine.
And Dr. Ng said, your fever is your friend. It was a completely different philosophical mindset too. We grow up, our moms hold our head like this in the 70s and, oh, Chris has a fever, let's whatever. Dr. Ng said, your fever is there for a reason. It's your friend. When it's there, celebrate it's there, because it's kickstarting your immune system. The hotter, the better, Chris, the hotter, the better. You start to feel that way. If you get those chills, jump in the bathtub, Epsom salt, hot as you can stand. So it was a completely different message where I was wired thinking in a completely different way with this like ill-advised home health care that I was doing with no blueprint. And Dr. Ng gave me a complete blueprint with the supplements, with the nebulizing treatments, with how to philosophically think about what my body was doing. Completely different.
This is what we've been doing with our patients for the last few months. We don't have anyone dying that we know of. We don't have anyone with pneumonia. None of the practitioners in our practice know of anyone, with pneumonia right now. We don't have anyone hospitalized right now. And our patients get better just like your story got better. And I really appreciate you sharing it with me. And it's important for everybody to know there's hope out there. You don't just have to feel like you're abandoned and you're stuck in a bedroom for 14 days. And you can take Tylenol and ibuprofen as you need it to control your fever. That's going to make the situation worse. So holistic ways do work for this. And Chris, you want to make any final comments?
No, I run the risk of being dramatic here, but I don't care. Four days ago, I was staring at inevitable death. 4 days ago, and I knew this, and I felt it, and I didn't know what to do. And what Dr. Ng said was profound. He said, "What you did, Chris, with just my help, I didn't do anything. All I did was help you and your body's profound physiology, your body's ability to help itself. That's what we did. You and I helped your body help itself. And otherwise, 4 days ago, it would have been a wrap."
You know what, Chris? People are dying right now from this and they don't have to. And these therapies are not expensive. the vitamin A, C, D, iodine, the whole, if you buy a bottle of each of those, it's $100 or a little over $100. The nebulized solution is cheap. Nebulizer is $40. This whole therapy costs less than $200. And you can do it at home and you can take control yourselves. I encourage the readers, read what I've been writing about this. Center for Holistic Medicine, with me and Dr. Ng and Dr. Nussbaum and Jenny and Taylor, we've been preparing for something like this for 25 years. This is why we went into medicine, and we have therapies that work for this. And you got to take it into your own hands, folks, because the conventional medical group offers you nothing, just as Christopher illustrated. So Chris, thanks for coming on, and I really appreciate it. And your story's going to help a lot of people.
I'll do whatever I can.
Thank you.